Good morning, New Brunswick, and welcome to the New Brunswick Today Show for today, Wednesday, November 16th. I'm your host, Charlie Cradaville. We've got a great show for you today. We're still unpacking the results of this recent election, both locally and nationally. Plus, we're going to bring you some more great stories from our New Brunswick Today website. It is another beautiful day today. It's just 52 degrees right now and mostly cloudy here in downtown New Brunswick. The high today is going to be 65 though, and the low is going to be 34 tonight. That's according to weather.com. We've also got two road closures for you today. Pennington Road is going to have a partial closure in place at Tunnison Road. That's until 3:30 p.m. And then the northbound side of Route 27 is going to be reduced to a single lane between Quentin Ave and Sanford Street. That starts at 8 p.m. tonight, goes until 5 a.m. tomorrow. And there is just so much going on right now. We've got a murder trial going on across the street at the county courthouse. That's the trial of Timothy Puskas, a man accused of killing a young man named Billy McCaw back in February 2014 here in New Brunswick. We were at the Board of Education meeting last night. We'll be attending the Housing Authority Board meeting tonight at 6:45 p.m. That's in the Schwartz-Robeson Community Center on Van Dyke Avenue. There's also a City Council meeting going on at the same time in Council Chambers at City Hall on Bayard Street right here in downtown. That meeting starts at 6:30 p.m. Meeting is open to the public. Anyone can participate. There is a section for public comments there. But that's not all. Our city is also preparing today for what could be a large political demonstration at Rutgers University set for 3 p.m. this afternoon on the Voorhees Mall. That's the area near College Avenue and Hamilton Street. Now, according to the Facebook page for the event, students are planning to walk out of class at 3 p.m. to Voorhees Mall and then march from there at 4 p.m. Where are they marching? We're not quite sure yet, but you can bet New Brunswick Today will be there. So tune into our Facebook page for live updates if you can't make it yourself. The protest is being billed as part of a national movement resisting Donald Trump's presidency and calling for all universities to become what they call sanctuary campuses, a place free from fear of deportation, where U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement would not be welcome. Now, we've got much more on that story, so stay tuned, and please take a quick moment just to share this video right now with your friends and your networks. But first, an update on New Brunswick Today's quest to find out when the last time Rutgers University tested the drinking water. Apparently the answer is by and large that they don't test the drinking water and never have. So as we promised on this program earlier, we tried to catch up with Rutgers President Bob Barchi after a student government meeting to ask him about the university's water testing program. Now, for the second time in 2 days, Barchi dodged our question, insisting that he wasn't taking questions at all. But we were able to get a word with a couple of Rutgers officials in that encounter, and they confirmed that the university only tests drinking water at a handful of on-campus daycare centers and nowhere else. That's right. The drinking water is not regularly tested in the state university's dormitories. No water testing in any academic buildings, in office buildings, in rec centers, stadiums, dining halls. No regular testing anywhere except for those 5 daycare centers. The person who told me this is Anthony Calcado, the university's vice president of facilities. Here's that interesting video. Take a look.
Hey, Mr. President, how are you?
You know I'm not taking any questions tonight. You know that. I'm here for a student meeting.
How would I know that, sir? I just wanted to follow up on my other question about when the last time the university tested the drinking water here was. Do you have any idea? I asked you just the other day when the university had last tested the drinking water. Have you looked into it since then? Is this a matter of concern for the university?
Good night to the students. Get that?
I'm sorry. Please, I'm just asking questions. When was the last time the university tested the drinking water that the students are drinking?
The answer's down here. Come here.
You have the answers for me? Do you? Okay, because I've been asking the president. He doesn't seem to know. Tony.
How are you?
How
What
are
do
you?
need to know?
Did you want an answer
Ask
or
me.
not?
What do
Yeah, I
you want
asked
to know?
that guy Brian. He told me, he promised me an answer, and he's walking away with the president.
I'm the guy who would have that answer.
When's the last time they tested the drinking water?
We don't test the drinking water.
Okay. Rutgers does not test the drinking
It does
water.
not test the drinking water, Charlie. Here,
Okay.
Can I explain to you?
Please.
Okay. So here's the deal. We test for lead in the water according to what statute requires us to do, right? So depending on, so statute says we have to test for daycare centers and certain other areas. That's where we test on a regular basis. If there's some anomaly somewhere,
So you do
we will
test
test
drinking
it.
water, just
We
not for
test it
this in
according
the
to law.
dorms.
We don't test it where we're not required to test it. We don't do it.
You do the bare minimum.
It's not the
No,
bare minimum. We do what the
exactly
law
what
requires us to do.
Exactly what
And welcome back to the New Brunswick Today Show. You can watch the full-length video of my interaction with Mr. Calcado on the New Brunswick Today YouTube channel, as well as the original encounter I had with President Barchi just 2 days earlier. That's also on our YouTube channel and on the NewBrunswickToday.com website. We've had a chance to follow up with Mr. Calcado and another Rutgers official. We're going to have a full story on the Rutgers water testing later this week on the NewBrunswickToday.com website. Now, I am very pleased to announce that New Brunswick Today's phenomenal bilingual print edition is now being produced twice a month. Now, I've got a copy of the latest issue, Monday, November 14th issue right here. It's available free all over town in the big blue boxes that you see around town here in New Brunswick. There's also one in Highland Park. There's another in Perth Amboy. And you can actually go to our website and see the full list of places to get it, as well as some great businesses in the area too. Now, as you may know, we are the only independent bilingual community newspaper in New Jersey, and we depend on our readers to keep us going. So I'm also pleased to announce that for a limited time, you can still subscribe to New Brunswick Today for the low price of just $5 per month. Get both of those monthly issues mailed to your home each month, anywhere in the United States. All you have to do is visit members.newbrunswicktoday.com to become a supporter of New Brunswick today, and support us. You can go to that website to support independent community news right here in Middlesex County and keep us going so that we can do more exciting things like this show. Now, back to our top story today. Rutgers reacting to the election of Donald Trump. At the heart of today's protests, and the protests we've been seeing lately, is the issue, which is a huge one for New Brunswick, of immigration. The protest planned for today is actually part of a nationwide action. This is being organized by Movimiento Coseca, along with lots of student group partners, and it's sure to attract attention from others outside the university community as well. Here's a quote from them: "No one should have to study or work with the threat of immigration raids hanging over them." That's what that organization has to say. And today they're calling on universities across the country to declare themselves sanctuaries for undocumented immigrants. Now, last night, Rutgers President Bob Barchi, in response to concerns about protecting immigrants, sent an email to the campus community attempting to assuage some of those concerns. Here's part of what he had to say to students in that mass email. Quote, "We will protect student confidentiality and will not share private information unless required by law or a court order. We expect all persons associated with the university to protect student privacy and confidentiality as well." Now, Rutgers police do not inquire into nor record the immigration status of students or other people unless a serious crime has been committed. He goes on to say Rutgers University does not use E-Verify for any purposes other than to comply with long-standing federal law regarding employment eligibility. Immigration status is not a factor in student housing decisions. And finally, you should be aware that the U.S. ICE policy characterizes colleges and universities like Rutgers as, quote, sensitive locations. It's places where in the normal course enforcement actions should not occur unless extraordinary circumstances exist. So an interesting statement coming out of Old Queens. Now, today's protest is not the first immigration protest on College Avenue, that's for sure. This footage was from November 1st, a week before Trump was elected. New Brunswick Today's Chris Roberts and Jenny Goldberg have been covering that action for us. We'll have their story later today on the NewBrunswickToday.com website. That rally in March was not an anti-Trump protest, but that didn't stop a small group of Trump supporters from heckling the much larger group of marchers then. Instead, that event was billed as a pro-immigrant march, and it was organized by the Center for Latino Arts and Culture, also known as the CLAC, part of Rutgers, and also Undocu Rutgers. Then, on November 8th, Donald Trump won the election, sparking another protest on Friday, November 11th. That protest was held at Brower Commons, the main dining hall on College Avenue. And over the weekend, 2 community organizations also got together for a planning and strategy meeting inside a church on College Avenue to discuss. Now, today's event is likely going to be one in a series of actions that will continue well into next year as Trump assumes office on January 20th, 2017. So stay tuned to New Brunswick Today to see just how big today's action is, and maybe we'll see you there. Now, before we go, I've got one more story for you. It's a story about a couple of old friends. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie was demoted from chair to vice chair in President-elect Trump's transition team. That's leaving observers wondering what the future might hold for the embattled public official. Christie had shocked many by endorsing Trump earlier this year. He became one of the first establishment figures to do so after previously suggesting that Trump was unfit for office during his own campaign for president. Now, the recent move has infused Trump's transition team with Trump loyalists, including several members of his own family, and it is paired with a purge of Christie's people from the powerful roles there. Having previously served as a federal prosecutor, Christie's name had been in the mix for jobs like U.S. Attorney General, as well as the potential head of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And the New York Times also lists Christie as a potential candidate for U.S. Commerce Secretary. But several criminal cases, including one against the governor himself, and another featuring a guilty plea from one of his closest allies, could stand in the way of those potential appointments, each of which would require approval from the United States Senate. Now, after the two men put aside their differences and joined forces in the presidential race, Christie helped to write several of Trump's speeches, even played the role of Trump's opponent Hillary Clinton during his debate preparation. Christie also famously called out Clinton at the Republican National Convention, claiming she was a criminal in front of an angry crowd to chants of guilty and lock her up. The New Jersey governor is also widely credited with damaging the presidential campaign of U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, another Trump rival who was seen as one of his most serious opponents during the Republican primaries. Still, it may sting Trump and his supporters to learn that David Sampson, the man who headed Christie's own 2009 transition team, is now a convicted felon who pleaded guilty to abusing his role as chairman of the powerful Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. And Christie's approval rating among his own constituents here in New Jersey is now worse than ever before in his 7 years as governor, just a paltry 19%. And making matters worse for Christie, 4 days before the election, guilty verdicts came down against two more of his appointees for a different Port Authority scandal. Both were convicted of conspiracy, fraud, civil rights violations, and a multitude of other charges in the absurd case that has become known as Bridgegate. Now, the latest move by Trump amounts to a demotion for Christie and two of his closest allies, his former law partner, Bill Palatucci, and former chief of staff, Dick Bagger, who were described as, quote, returning to the private sector in a statement from the transition team just days after Trump's unprecedented victory in that national election. Palatucci was once a senior executive at the embattled private prison company that runs many of New Jersey's halfway houses. He's now a lobbyist for the law firm Gibbons PC. He served as general counsel to the transition team, an important role. Now, Bagger serves as an executive vice president at a biotech company here in New Jersey called Celgene, and he also serves as a board member at that embattled agency, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Now, there's so much more to this story, including a secret deal between Christie and Trump, cut at a time when Trump did not expect to win the race. But we are out of time for today, so please like our Facebook page, New Brunswick Today. Connect with us on Twitter, follow us, and keep checking the NewBrunswickToday.com website for the full story on this coming later today, plus so much more. That's all for today's show. Please join us Friday. We'll be back with Dan Nee, the publisher of Brick Shorebeat and Lavalette Shorebeat. He'll be our special guest. And now before we go, organizers of today's protest at Rutgers claim it will be, quote, one of the largest protests Rutgers has seen in a decade or more. And so we leave you today with some footage from the largest protest and in recent memory at Voorhees Mall. That was, of course, the 2011 Walk into Action, a protest against rising tuition at Rutgers. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy this video and have a great day, everybody.
Hasn't even started yet.
Come on, people! John! We're going to the classroom.
John! Go to the classroom!
What's that?
Go to the classroom!
All right! Good! Let's go! Walk it out!
Walk in action!
Walk it out! They say cut back, we say fight back! They say cut back, we say fight back!
Stop tuition hikes! Who said we ever had money? Who said we were rich? Dignity and power, yeah!
Solidarity!
International Brotherhood of Teamsters are on your side.
That's right, guys!
Hey, Rutgers University, how are you doing today? I said, how are you doing today? We care about our school, we care about our state, and we care about our future. And we have students of all four-year colleges and universities doing something today. So down at TCNJ, Ramapo, Montclair, William Paris, NJCU, NJIT, students from all across the state, right, are standing together in solidarity.
More than ever, it appears as though we came here not to get an education, but rather purchase a diploma. Rutgers, ever more concerned with its brand, should try and turn on the television or surf the internet and see that we have become the shock jock laughingstock University of the United States. We enroll our way out of tough budget situations, eliminate bus routes, and pay our mediocre football coach more than the President of the United States of America.
It's easy to get upset and to lose hope, but I want you to keep in mind something. Even the strongest granite wears down under the force of a stream of water. Now look around you. Look at this river of knowledge, this river of awareness. We have a new campus. And remember one more thing. We are Rutgers, damn it! We do not give in. If you walk the banks of the Raritan, you're walking in the footsteps of rebels, and thank God for that. The fight for our public institutions is nothing short. It's nothing short of a moral battle.
The state gives Rutgers University funding. The same amount of money that they did in 1994. In 1994, when there were 10,000 less Rutgers students. In 1994, when the dollar went so much further. In 1994, when a gallon of gas was less than $2. So I look to our leaders. I look to our leaders of 2011, not our leaders of 1994, and I say it's time to step up.
Consider this. Nobel Prize winning economists predict that the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq will cost $3 trillion. By the end of this year, student debt will exceed $1 trillion.
Oh!
It's as if the students of the U.S. are fighting a war to pay for their own education. And yet it is true. We are fighting a war. Our war is against tuition hikes that have more than doubled the cost of tuition. We are here today to reclaim our economic future from the university robber barons and to stand in solidarity as students to fight the war against the corporatization of our public education system. We are here today to say we demand the abolition of unfair hikes and our tuition. Long story short, we're out here because we care. We're out here because if we don't do something, nobody will. Today we fight for higher education. Today we keep Rutgers public. Thank you very much.
Education is a right! Education is a right!
Is anybody else proud to be a Rutgers student right now? I thought back to that meeting when we started New Jersey United Students and about the fact that New Jersey spends more money in criminal justice than it does in education. That means that we would rather incarcerate you and put you in jail than educate you and make you a part of American society. That's what that means. So right now I want you guys to think about invest in education, not incarceration. Invest in education, not incarceration.
And it's true, Morgan brings up a great point, right? There's a huge crisis of priorities out there in the state right now. Right now, as a state, we spend up to $38,000 keeping one person in jail. With that money, we could send 3 Rutgers students here for a year and have some money left over for books.
So what I want to say is accountability, transparency, ethics, unity, solidarity. The workforce and the student force must be together. God bless you.
We have 2 things. We have our bodies and we have our courage. And if we use both of them, we can do anything. Right now, I wanted us to take this social mass, take our bodies, and take our courage to really, really make a difference. Right? I think we're going to start going over that way. I encourage you to follow. Thank you so much for coming up. See you guys soon. Over that way, guys. People are going. Let's go. Let's move on out. Mobilize, everybody.
I'm not an ATM!
This is a good turnout.
Yeah, dude, this is great. That's right. That's right. Shut it down. Shut the streets down.
That is mad people.
Yo, this is awesome. Fight, fight, fight! Education is a right! Fight, fight, fight!
Fight, fight, fight!
Make is your name! You are to blame! You are to blame! Make is your name! You are to blame! Yeah! I gotta get this on camera. Oh shit!